Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight we speak softly about the nervous system, already remembers what the mind forgot. That rest is natural, receiving is safe, and abundance is encoded in ease, not as a goal to chase, but as something your soul already recognizes. Let yourself notice the hush inside, the way your breath moves without permission, the way your heartbeat hums even when your mind is busy searching for answers. It's the part of you that never stopped trusting the gentle thrum beneath all noise. Even now, you are closer to that truth than your mind could ever explain. What if you've never actually been broken? What if your softness was the wealth all along? When the day asks for more than you can give, have you ever noticed how your body cradles you anyway? Even when you forget how to rest, the nervous system remembers, pulling you closer to ease in every sigh, every closing of your eyelids. Here in the softness of night, the urge to prove yourself goes quiet. Listen, underneath effort, there is a memory returning. That nothing about belonging needs to be earned. You were always wired for enoughness. Your mind might try to keep the puzzle pieces arranged just so, might whisper that receiving is too much, that ease is suspicious, that abundance is for some far-off version of you. But the body knows the truth that outlives worry. The body remembers how it feels to simply be held, to let in the quiet without apology, stay here, with the part of you that already believes. The part untouched by urgency, patient enough to work its magic while you rest. Because rest is not a pause in living, it's the space where the real story breathes. Doesn't it feel different even now to stop running? To melt into the soft imprint your own presence makes on this bed. Your nervous system is not confused. It has been waiting for you to remember, as you set down the heavy shield, that you were never any less whole for needing ease. Tonight, let the urge to chase dissolve. Let every muscle unclench, as if abundance were a warmth flowing back into your cells. You do not need to fix what already knows how to come home some nights. The ache settles in the bones before the body even realizes it's tired. It's a quiet ache, not loud or sharp. It lingers in the jaw, tucks into the shoulders, wraps itself through the chest as if whispering, "Stay ready, just in case." This exhaustion isn't just about being busy. It's woven through every moment you couldn't rest, when your spirit felt required to prove its worth by never stopping, when the world rewarded just how much you can survive, how quietly you can ignore your own needing. The ache somehow learns to feel like home. Maybe no one sees the way you scan each room for threat or belonging. Maybe it looks like success from the outside, the perfectly measured days, the high-functioning smile that arrives even after restless nights. Maybe the ache is what keeps you moving, what makes you good. Maybe you sometimes wonder if safety is for someone braver, softer, luckier, someone else. But tonight, you're allowed to soften. There is no applause coming, no chief to impress, no fire to sit up tending for anyone else's warmth. If you notice the ache, let it be proof you survived, not an assignment, not a flaw to repair. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't failing, it's what might happen if you put everything down and simply belong. Sometimes the ache is the most honest thing in you, the signal that something remembers a world where rest was safe, kindness was currency, and worth was not a thing you had to earn with tired hands. This ache is not a weakness. This ache is the signal that your soul is done striving. It's the echo of all the versions of you who kept watch, who hustled for warmth, and who get to lie down now, held safe in the quiet you've prepared for yourself tonight. You can hear it, can't you? The ache is softer tonight, not because you forced it, but because for once you listened. There's a longing that lives beneath every checklist, beyond the urgent hungers and the list of things you ought to become. It hums quietly just below the scattered thoughts, softer than any plan, braver than any should. Maybe you've felt it, a tender desire that isn't about more action, more hustle, more future built on shaking ground. Instead, it's the wish to slow the rush, to rest your chest against the world and whisper, only this, only now, not for laziness, not for escape, but to feel what it's like to trust that the earth will still turn, and that what's meant for you cannot be lost if you simply let yourself be here, letting life arrive on its own current. Sometimes it aches in the spaces between tasks, in the pause before the next obligation. A kind of quiet ache that says, there must be another way, a slower, truer way that lets the heart keep its softness instead of trading it for speed. Inside, perhaps, there's a hope. What if you could let out the breath you've been holding since childhood? What if the panic of not enough could slip off your shoulders, even for one night? Maybe it doesn't feel safe yet to trust this. Maybe your story has been written in swift, sharp lines, grown from the belief that if you don't keep running, the ground will fall away. Still, part of you remembers a different rhythm, a natural enoughness, like the body's own heartbeat at rest. There's no fixing here, only noticing, only growing aware of how often you wait for the permission to receive, to be cared for by something larger than you. It's strange, isn't it, how a soul can ache for abundance not through conquest, but through surrender. The desire to slow down isn't laziness. It's a quiet rebellion against panic, a longing to trust, even if it means relearning what it means to exist without the soundtrack of scarcity always playing. Sometimes this ache appears as tiredness that goes deeper than the body. Other times it's a craving for beauty, the wish for mornings that unfold softly, or evenings where you stop counting, measuring, bracing. The real longing, beneath all the others, might be as simple as this: to be provided for, to be chosen by life itself, without having to prove your worth every waking moment. To let abundance be unforced, a birthright rather than a battle. Listen now to that longing, gentle and unhurried. Feel how it pulses in your body, older than effort, wiser than striving. Notice how it lingers in the pauses, how it waits for you to remember what has always been true. That nothing essential can be earned by panic, and nothing precious can be rushed. Instead, let yourself soften, even just for tonight, and allow the ache to be a guide, leading you back to the part of you that already trusts, already belongs, already knows the sweetness of going slow and being met by grace along the way. There's a hush that sits beneath even the brightest moments, a quiet unease that tucks itself into corners, always watching for the moment you pause. It's older than memory and softer than thought, the sense that if stillness slips in, even for a breath, something precious might dissolve. Maybe it's your value, maybe it's you. These nights, you notice it most just as the house goes silent and the world exhales. There's a tension between letting go and holding on, a half-remembered belief that the world only wants your motion, your reaching, your effort. That if you stop, even for a night, who you are might float away. Your pulse hums with the echo of days spent measuring worth by how much you move, how hard you try, how visible you're striving. The moment you soften, it's like standing on a bridge made of spider silk, unsure if it will hold your full, unearned weight. There's a story whispering that stillness lets something dangerous through. That quiet is an opening where value slips out, unseen and unguarded. Perhaps in childhood, applause only came to the loud, the quick, the accomplished. Perhaps you grew familiar with the way love rushed toward effort and withered in rest. A small, silent part of you wonders if being empty-handed means being empty. Somewhere, a question dissolves on your tongue: if I stop, will I matter? And old fear answers back with worry and ache. The mind becomes a restless inventor, finding reasons why you must keep moving. The world is watching, the world is keeping score, the world is a hungry tide, and it's safer to keep swimming than risk being pulled under by silence itself. Sometimes the fear is snaky, sometimes it is just a hum behind the eyes. But sometimes it tightens your chest like a hand over your heart, and you rush to fill the space with task or thought or promise. Sometimes you cannot name it, but you can feel its shape, hollow and wide, the worry that being still is an invitation for loss. That fate rewards those who always reach, and that only the ones who push and protect will be spared from being forgotten. Your mind returns, again and again, to the loop. Maybe you overachieve, not because the trophies matter, but because there is a trembling beneath the surface, a secret accounting, a fear that if you stop, you will be erased by the quiet. Maybe you hustle because sitting with yourself feels too much like vanishing. There is awareness here, a soul-level ache that does not want to be chased away, a longing to be met, not managed. Strange comfort in effort, yet a deeper ache in its shadow. Each night, the body remembers what the mind tries to outrun, and you're here again, suspended in that paradox. The fear is real and still. Something soft inside you waits for the exhale that says, value is not earned in motion or lost in rest. Something in you already knows, even as you listen, that there is another way, even if it's hidden for now. In the pause, in the hush, there's a question waiting to be heard. What if there's nothing to lose in stillness, only something to remember? There's a way some hearts learn to tuck themselves into corners of doing, like there's a scorecard no one's ever seen, but it's always there, quietly tallying proof. Sometimes it's the small things, like finishing what you started even though your eyes are heavy, or feeling that familiar ache inside when a moment of stillness arrives, and you wonder, is it safe? Is it enough? Can I exhale here? There's a hunger in you that calls out when silence wraps the room, the quiet question underneath every motion. Did I do enough? Did I earn tonight's peace? And there's an echo that lingers, maybe tomorrow if I do more, I'll be allowed to simply be. It starts so young, maybe before memory, maybe handed to you by voices who believed love was something you bought with busyness, who taught that gentleness is a luxury, and softness is only for those who have finished proving. All the rushing, the pleasing, the little sprints no one saw, all just a language you learned to speak, hoping belonging could hear you better that way. Sometimes it almost works for a moment, the applause, the thanks, the gold stars light up the space inside you and it feels like sunrise. But somehow, the warmth fades fast and you're left searching for the next patch of sunlight, the next reason to say yes, the next way to avoid the question that sings the moment you slow down. What if you stop? What's still true about you then? Sleep never quite arrives when the heart is working overtime for a seat at the table. The body drifts, but some thread inside keeps pulling a list, rewriting itself behind closed eyes, a mind rehearsing apologies for the softness it's never been allowed to keep. Even the way you lie down can feel like an act. I'll rest once I've earned it. I'll relax once I'm good. And yet there's a forgotten knowing that every cell in you has been waiting to remember, that the ache to do is not proof you're broken, it's proof you long to be loved as is. Even the exhaustion is sacred, even the desire to stop holy. What you want most is already hiding beneath the surface, glimmering in the part of you that wonders softly if it's possible to receive without running first. If softness can be your shelter, maybe tonight this ache is your invitation. Maybe the silence is your softest yes. Maybe there's a place where rest is not given as a prize, but as a home you never left. There is a part of you that remembers, before the pushing, before the running, there was something rich and still inside, something quietly alive. Can you feel it now, shimmering just beneath the pace of your heart? All you've been taught about scarcity, the endless quest to fill, to grow, to never stop. What if none of that was ever truly yours? What if abundance is not earned by exhaustion, but received through a softness you were never meant to outgrow? It's easy to believe in the wisdom of effort, in stacking hours, in the myth that only the busy find the gold. But there's a deeper current, a gentle invitation that has always whispered, rest is not absence, it is not lack. It is not a blank space waiting to be filled by hustle. Rest is a current, a pathway through which all things you seek are ready to arrive. Why does this matter? Because you have been crafted for more than survival. Because your very cells long for the exhale. Because every time you let your body soften, every moment you let yourself sink into trust, you rewrite stories older than your name and welcome abundance where effort alone could never reach. Imagine the seed, hidden in darkness for a season, not straining but surrendering, gathering strength not in action but in stillness, and from that quiet, something breathtaking unfolds. Or the river, carving through earth not by pushing, but by yielding, by flowing, letting the world shape itself gently around its presence. Or the moon, how it grows not through striving, but through phases of illumination and rest, always whole, even in its shadow. There is a hush that settles in the room when you realize safety isn't something to earn. It's something that rises within you the more you let the breath deepen and the thoughts drift by. Regulation is not a science in the body, not a checklist for the mind. It's the moment when your shoulders let go of everything they thought they had to hold, and the old storms in the chest remember they can be rain instead of thunder. That matters because the universe is always listening for softness. It listens for a nervous system coming home to itself, a gentle beacon that invites care, opportunity, and sweetness here, to this body, to this heart, to you. It isn't what you do or how you perform that brings abundance closer. It's the quiet signal you give off, the one that says, I am safe now just to feel. Think of the way a dog curls up under your hand once it senses calm. Notice how the sun finds the warmest spot on a windowsill and spills itself there, unhurried. Or remember how the right melody seems to arrive in a quiet house, searching only for a ready ear. Regulation is that kind of quiet readiness. The world does not find you by force. It finds you by your peaceful open door. All your life, being receptive has felt like something hard or vulnerable. As if letting in meant losing, or being seen meant surrendering your edge. But see how rivers never have to chase the rain. Notice how the moon never argues with dawn about who is more luminous. Observe the soft roots sinking deeper into the earth when the soil is loose and welcoming. What comes to you is drawn to where it knows it can be held. So when you soften, the doors don't just open, they turn themselves into invitations. When you allow regulation to settle across your being, the universe marks the address of your soul in golden ink. The paths that once seemed lost begin to return, patient and sure. And in your quietest hour, you become the place that everything good is meant to find. There's a kind of ancient relief that sweeps through when the body finally begins to sense real safety, not the kind invented by the mind, but the kind you might taste in the silence after rain, the hush when morning first cracks open. The mind may hold stories of effort, of trying to fix or force, but the body reads something deeper. It's been listening beneath the noise, tracking the trembling, the stillness, the times you woke at midnight with a racing heart and wondered if anything could soften this edge. The body never betrays you, even when it curls tight, even when it aches as if it's holding the weight of 1,000 old stories. It is simply doing what it knows to keep you safe. It responds with loyalty to every signal. Danger, hope, hunger for gentleness. The truth is, the body is a historian. It remembers every moment the ground felt unsteady, every echo of a word that told you to harden, every fleeting brightness that signaled safety might be close. And so it armed itself, quietly, not to punish, but to protect what it loves. That's why it matters so much to pause and honor this wisdom. The tension, the holding, the signal to freeze, these are love in disguise. Every ache is the body's way of saying, I am with you, I won't let what is precious be lost again. Maybe this reality is clearer if you imagine a child pressed close in the dark, holding tight to their own arms because it feels safer that way. Or the way a city will close its gates when the thunder grows sharp, or how a field might curl beneath late autumn frost, not as defeat, but as a sacred preparation for next spring's softness. The body does not err, it anticipates. It gives you the chance, over and over, to listen for gentleness, to notice what makes it unclench, to witness the miracle of returning warmth. Even now, as you breathe here, something wise and wordless remembers how to soften. Safety returns, not as a prize for perfection, but as a gentle homecoming to what was never broken in the first place. The body's loyalty never left you. In these quiet hours, it is safe to remember, safe to let the wisdom of your own bones lead you back into rest. Sometimes the deepest knowing comes in the hush after effort, the way dusk settles on a room once the day's stories have found their endings. In this silence, the remembering grows roots. Tonight, the not doing, the quiet enoughness has been softly circling, and your body knows how to follow its own wisdom, even when your mind forgets. You might notice the way your breath lengthens when you stop chasing what was never lost, the warmth of your chest when you let life in without the grip. There's a gentle letting go here, like water finding its level, like dawn arriving without any urging. Every ache you once wrestled with, every question that spun through your midnight thoughts, meets this moment, honest, tender, unhurried. The body, wise beyond concepts, remembers what softness feels like, remembers that pause is as powerful as pursuit. That in the stillness, you are not left behind but drawn deeper into yourself. The very earth breathes beneath you, holding you, asking nothing, reminding you that wholeness does not need explanation. You might recall the old urge to prove, to produce, to burn so brightly you could not rest. Maybe tonight, even as the mind reaches for something to solve, the body quietly invites you to stay. To belong to the hush, to let gravity cradle you for a little while longer. Somewhere between inhale and exhale, you recognize the magnetic power of not trying so hard, the beauty in allowing each layer of you to soften back into place. Outside, the branches remember how to be still. The moon follows its path, untouched by striving. In your own chest, a new kind of wealth is waking, a sense that your softness was never the absence of strength, it was certainty, patiently waiting for the mind to remember. The story pauses, but your spirit does not. You have returned to a truth that needs no proof, only peace. Let yourself rest in this knowing. Let the quiet finish what words could not. Let your body settle deeper, as if the mattress beneath you is remembering how to hold all of you, without demand, without pressure, just silent approval. Imagine the air softening around your skin, a cocoon spun from softness and trust. There's no rush, no story to fix, only the slow exhale, only the gentle way your chest rises and falls and rises again, like ocean waves that have nowhere to be except exactly here, in the sanctuary of now. Inside your chest, picture a warm golden light like candle flame. With every breath, this light grows, gentle, never urgent, spreading through your ribs, into your belly, soothing every hidden ache, every clenched nerve, every old echo telling you wealth meant proving or striving. Let yourself feel how the body unwinds when there is nothing left to fight, how the ground underneath you carries you without question. Open your hands in the darkness. Notice how easy it is to receive when there's nothing to grip, nothing to protect. Ease is not emptiness, it is fullness with no demand. Imagine a stream running nearby, clear, effortless, never worried if the water will arrive. Abundance is like this, always flowing, shaped by its gentleness, never withholding from the soft or the slow. You are made of the same memory. Feel the quiet pulse at your wrist, the rhythm in your breath, the hush in your room. Every part of you has always known, rest is holy. Receptivity is ancient. Ease is precious not because it is rare, but because it's so natural, so long forgotten and finally remembered. Let these words float through you now, like seeds settling in fertile earth, nothing to force or fix. I am safe to let go. My softness is my home. I belong to the rhythm of ease. Wealth welcomes me in my stillness. Every breath restores my worth. Rest is a gift I give myself. I receive with gentle hands and open heart. Abundance finds me when I surrender to peace. Let sleep come however it comes. Let the night hold your questions, your longings, your arrival. In this quiet, in this breathing, you are already whole. You are already home.